Did you know that one of Hollywood's most iconic actresses was involved in not one but two marriages to the same man? Elizabeth Taylor's love life was filled with scandal, passion, and heartbreak. But what really happened behind closed doors? Elizabeth Taylor is a name synonymous with beauty, talent, and of course, scandal. Known for her unforgettable roles on screen, she became even more famous for the drama that unfolded in her personal life. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the many love affairs that marked Taylor's career, from her high-profile marriages to the publicized betrayals. You won't believe the twists and turns her relationships took. Get ready to uncover the shocking details of Elizabeth Taylor's scandalous love affairs. Elizabeth Taylor's early years and first marriage to Conrad Nicky Hilton. Elizabeth Taylor, a name that would soon be synonymous with glamour and scandal, started her journey into love when she was just 18 years old. Her first husband, Conrad Nicky Hilton Jr., was the heir to the famous Hilton Hotel fortune, a match that seemed like the perfect fairy tale for the young starlet. The wedding, held in May of 1950, was a spectacle. Everything about it screamed Hollywood glamour. The media buzzed with excitement, and the public couldn't get enough of the dazzling young couple. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect union, things were far from ideal. From the very start, the cracks began to show. Nicky Hilton, known for his heavy drinking, was reportedly abusive and emotionally distant toward Taylor. As glamorous as their wedding had been, their marriage quickly became a struggle for Elizabeth. Hilton's behavior was controlling, and Elizabeth later admitted that she felt isolated and trapped. She was still so young, still learning about love, and yet she was already facing heartache in a relationship that promised so much. It was the first of many turbulent love affairs in Taylor's life. Despite the end of the marriage after only 8 months, Elizabeth's experiences during this time shaped her future relationships. The first signs of her longing for something more intense, something beyond the surface, were beginning to show. How could someone so young and beautiful fall into a marriage that seemed perfect on paper, but was anything but in reality? Second marriage to Michael Wilding. After the end of her first marriage, Elizabeth didn't waste much time before finding love again. In 1952, she married English actor Michael Wilding, who, at the time, was well established in the industry. He was a distinguished actor, older than Elizabeth, and seemed like a calming presence in her life. Their union marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that appeared to be more stable compared to her whirlwind first marriage. During their time together, Elizabeth and Michael had 2 sons, Michael Wilding Jr. and Christopher Wilding, which only added to the sense of normalcy in their relationship. For a while, it seemed like Elizabeth had found the balance she needed. But as with her first marriage, it wasn't destined to last. Their marriage lasted for 5 years, ending in 1957. The reason? Elizabeth's growing restlessness and her insatiable need for excitement. Despite the stability and security that Wilding offered, it wasn't enough for the starlet who was craving more passion, more adventure. It became clear that Taylor was not content with a life that lacked the excitement she craved, and this led her to seek a new chapter. Was it that she was truly seeking fulfillment, or was she simply unable to find satisfaction in a life that felt too predictable? Both marriages, short-lived as they were, played a crucial role in shaping Elizabeth Taylor's understanding of love. With each relationship, she seemed to move further from the conventional, seeking out the kind of intense and passionate love that would define the rest of her life. Would her third marriage be any different, or was she destined to repeat the same patterns? The story was just beginning, and what came next would shock the world: the scandalous affair with Eddie Fisher. The early 1960s marked one of the most controversial and scandal-filled chapters of Elizabeth Taylor's love life, and this time the drama unfolded in a very public way. After her divorce from Michael Wilding in 1959, Taylor found herself entangled in a passionate and highly scandalous affair with actor Eddie Fisher. What made this affair even more shocking was that Eddie Fisher was married to none other than Taylor's close friend, actress Debbie Reynolds. The affair turned into one of Hollywood's most talked-about love triangles, and the fallout was nothing short of explosive. The affair began while Fisher was still married to Reynolds, and it wasn't long before the world learned of the drama brewing behind closed doors. When Fisher left Reynolds for Taylor, the scandal sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, and the public couldn't get enough of the sensational story. The once beautiful friendship between Taylor and Reynolds was shattered, and the media frenzy surrounding the breakup was relentless. People couldn't help but wonder, how could someone betray a close friend for love? Was it just another Hollywood affair, or was there more to this passionate connection than anyone could have imagined? In 1960, Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher married, but this union would prove to be just as complicated as their affair. Fisher's career, once thriving, began to suffer as he became increasingly alienated from many in the industry. The public's judgment, fueled by the scandal, took a heavy toll on him, and the marriage faced mounting challenges. Both Taylor and Fisher contributed to the breakdown of their relationship, and by 1964, after just 4 years, their marriage ended in divorce. This affair and marriage marked a turning point in Elizabeth Taylor's love life. She was no longer just a glamorous Hollywood star. She was a symbol of scandal, passion, and unrelenting desire. Taylor's relationships from this point forward would continue to be defined by drama and intrigue. But what did the future hold for her? Would she find true happiness, or was she destined to live out her love life in the public eye, forever under scrutiny? The next chapter in her story was about to unfold, and it would be just as shocking as the last. Marriage to Richard Burton, the ultimate love story? When it comes to Elizabeth Taylor's love life, few relationships were as famous or as turbulent as her marriage to actor Richard Burton. The two met in 1962 on the set of Cleopatra, where their undeniable on-screen chemistry quickly turned into an off-screen romance. Burton, a Welsh actor with a passionate temperament, soon became not just Taylor's greatest love, but also her greatest heartbreak. Their connection was electric, and the world watched in awe as their affair blossomed into one of the most talked-about love stories in Hollywood history. Their relationship was scandalous from the start. Both Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton were married to other people when they began their affair, causing an immediate media frenzy. Hollywood, known for its fair share of love triangles, had never seen anything like this. The couple's romance was filled with drama, passion, and frequent publicized fights. They were often described as the two most famous lovers in the world, and their love story seemed to be made for the tabloids. With every passionate kiss, every argument, every extravagant trip, both Taylor and Burton lived their lives in front of the cameras, whether they wanted to or not. But could the intense chemistry between them survive the pressure of the public eye? In March 1964, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton married, but their relationship was far from smooth sailing. Burton's heavy drinking, Taylor's fiery personality, and the constant scrutiny from the press created cracks in their marriage from the very beginning. The couple separated and reconciled multiple times, each breakup and reunion intensifying the drama. Their love was a whirlwind of emotions, romantic, volatile, and full of passion. By 1974, after a decade of intense love and conflict, they finally divorced. But even though their marriage ended, their relationship didn't. Elizabeth and Richard's bond remained complicated and powerful, continuing on and off for the rest of their lives. Their love story became the epitome of a passionate, turbulent romance that captivated the world, showing that sometimes love is never easy, especially when it's under the spotlight. The question remains, was this love the ultimate Hollywood romance, or was it doomed from the start? Would they ever truly be able to let go of each other? Their saga may have ended on paper, but their connection was far from over. The marriage to John Warner. After the stormy and intense relationship with Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor sought a fresh start, and in 1976, she married U.S. Senator John Warner. This marriage represented a shift in Taylor's life, one that seemed focused on finding stability after the emotional chaos of her previous unions. Warner, a respected politician, provided a calmer, more traditional contrast to the fiery personalities Taylor had been involved with. Their marriage was less scandalous compared to her earlier relationships, and the couple was often seen as a sophisticated and glamorous pair, attending public events with an air of elegance. However, despite the outward appearance of a peaceful marriage, it was clear that Taylor was still searching for something more. The relationship, while relatively drama-free, was ultimately unable to withstand the weight of Taylor's past romantic history and Warner's political career, which demanded much of his time and attention. While their union lasted for 6 years, from 1976 to 1982, it came to an end not with a dramatic explosion, but with the quiet realization that they were no longer in sync. It seemed that for Elizabeth Taylor, no matter how stable the relationship seemed on paper, she was always in pursuit of something deeper. Could she ever find the balance between passion and peace in love? Love affair with Larry Fortensky. After the end of her marriage to John Warner, Elizabeth Taylor entered into a relationship that would come as a complete surprise to the public. In the early 1990s, she married construction worker Larry Fortensky, a man much younger than her. They had met while attending rehab at the Betty Ford Center, and their romance was unexpected, far from the glamorous, high-profile relationship she had been known for. Their wedding in 1991, held at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, was a spectacle of Hollywood grandeur, but the relationship itself was a far cry from the glamorous love stories Taylor had experienced in her past. The marriage, though lasting 5 years, was notably quiet. The public and critics alike were quick to focus on the age difference between the two, and the marriage lacked the usual drama that defined her previous unions. By 1996, their relationship had ended, marking yet another chapter in Taylor's roller coaster love life. But even though this union was far from the tabloid-fueled spectacles of her earlier marriages, it still left many wondering, was this a final attempt at finding love in a more grounded, less public way? Taylor's later years and her relationship with Michael Jackson? As Elizabeth Taylor entered her later years, her love life may have quieted down, but her relationships still made waves, though this time not for the usual reasons. One of the most notable friendships in her later life was with the king of pop, Michael Jackson. Their bond was different from the passionate and tumultuous relationships Taylor had once known. It was deep, genuine, and rooted in mutual admiration. Taylor and Jackson's friendship began in the 1980s, and despite their vastly different careers, they found common ground in their shared love for art, music, and most notably, their experience with the harsh glare of the public spotlight. Both were icons in their own right, but their fame also made them targets for scrutiny, something that created an unspoken understanding between the two. They could relate to the pressures of fame in a way few others could, and this shared experience made their connection even stronger. Though their relationship was never romantic, it was incredibly meaningful for both. Taylor became a constant source of support for Michael Jackson, particularly during the times of personal turmoil and controversy that marked his life. She stood by him during his darkest moments, offering a steady hand and a fierce defense when his reputation was under attack. Taylor famously went to bat for him in the media, calling out the unfair treatment he received. To Taylor, Michael Jackson wasn't just a pop star. He was a brother she never had. Their friendship, built on trust and loyalty, was unlike any of her previous relationships. It was less about passion and more about emotional connection, a rare bond that survived the test of time and public scrutiny. This relationship marked a shift in Taylor's later years. She was no longer seeking the tumultuous love affairs of her youth, but instead embracing a more grounded, yet equally profound connection. Despite the challenges both of them faced in the public eye, their friendship was a lasting testament to the power of genuine companionship, transcending the scandals and drama that had once defined Elizabeth Taylor's love life. Elizabeth Taylor's enduring passion for love. Despite all the ups and downs, the heartbreaks, and the scandals, one thing remained constant throughout Elizabeth Taylor's life: her unyielding passion for love. She was never afraid to dive headfirst into relationships, even when the world around her was quick to judge. Taylor's love life, filled with intense emotions and public scrutiny, was a testament to her fierce ability to love, even when it seemed like the odds were against her. Her relationships weren't just about finding a partner, they were about seeking the kind of deep, passionate connection that she craved. Whether it was through her whirlwind romances, turbulent marriages, or eventual quieter unions, Taylor's quest for love made her one of the most iconic figures in Hollywood history. She lived in an era of constant media attention, but rather than retreat from the spotlight, she embraced her emotional journey. In the process, she became an unforgettable figure, not just because of her beauty and acting talent, but because of her enduring pursuit of love, no matter the cost. What do you think about Elizabeth's quest for love? Was she just chasing passion, or was she searching for something deeper? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed diving into the scandalous and fascinating world of Elizabeth Taylor's relationships, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more captivating stories from the world of Hollywood's most iconic legends.